Hey everyone! If you enjoyed this video, the full version is available on Patreon. I'll be uploading all my content there going forward.
Like, subscribe and share Light Fanfiction audiobook channel for all parts. Chapter 1. Daming Country, Minghua City. Inside a large studio hall, there were 10 contestants standing on the stage, and 2 moderators. In the judges' seat in front of the stage, 10 judges were also sitting, and everyone looked more serious. In addition to them, there was also a 100-member public jury sitting in the audience. Absolutely. This is the studio hall. A large number of cameras and the like are also essential. Hello audience friends, this is the of radio and television station. The host Bing Bing smiled and said. After layers of selection, the first global creation competition, Daming Country Division, has 10 contestants who have stood out. She gestured to the side. 10 players are lined up. These players are both male and female. Some tilted their chins slightly, appear extraordinarily confident, while others look left and right. He looked slightly nervous. But one of them was neither confident nor nervous, and there was only a faint blank in his eyes. I just crossed over, and I came to the scene of the creation competition. Chen Yuan stood on the stage, his eyes slightly dilated. Yes. This dazed player is Chen Yuan. Not long ago, Chen Yuan woke up and found himself in the lounge of the contestants. Then the staff came over. Finally, he took to the stage. During this period, Chen Yuan also learned some basic information from the memories that poured out of his mind. It turns out that this is the Ming Kingdom of the parallel world. The global creation competition is the highest level of creative competition held in Daming this year. The organizer is a joint venture of a number of domestic and foreign organizations, each of which is extremely well known in the global industry. What Silver and Award organizers, as well as Rain Award organizers, as well as Hollywood and so on. The purpose of this global contest is to select the best creators. As for the winner of the competition, not only will he have a generous prize money, but he will also be vigorously cultivated in the future, cooperate with well-known film parties, and so on. Overall, this game has a very high gold content, and it is the ultimate dream stage for all creators. The global creation competition is not only the highest standard creative authoritative competition in Daming, but also a stage for every creator to realize their dreams. Just as Chen Yuan was pondering, another host, Xiao Sa, spoke. He is enthusiastic and his voice is impassioned. After introducing the rules of the competition, the camera turned to the judges' seat, and Xiao Sa introduced of the judges one by one. The guest commentators for this contest are Zhang Yumu, who served as the chief director of the opening ceremony of the Olympic Games. Representative works are of the famous national first-class actor, Masterpiece, and a public jury composed of 100 well-known domestic writers, as well as screenwriters, etc. Hearing Xiao Sa's introduction, Chen Yuan on the stage felt a trace of surprise in his heart. Tisk, judging from the size of the judges, the specifications of this competition are really high. If you can win the championship in this kind of competition, it must be very good treatment. And on the other side, after Xiao Sa finished all the introductions, the host Bing Bing smiled and said, Audience friends, the first global creation competition, Daming Country Division, 10-1 final, is about to start. In this competition, the final national champion will be selected from the 10 contestants. I wonder who the champion will be. For the fairness and justice of the competition, the program team has prepared 10 creative rooms. The contestants will complete the creative in the room. As for the creative theme of each competition, it will be randomly selected by the judges. Teachers, let's go to your respective creation room. The contestants. As Bing Bing's voice fell, The passage door at the back of the stage also opened. The 10 contestants each walked towards the passage door. My number is 9. Chen Yuan glanced at the room number, and then entered his own creation room. This room is an en-suite. All facilities are available. Of course. Cameras and other equipment are also available. Chen Yuan knew that in addition to privacy, the creative process of the contestants would be broadcast live. The specifications of the creation contest are quite high. The championship is indeed quite tempting, but I don't know what the theme of this first race is. Chen Yuan muttered in his heart and sat on the sofa. Turn your head and look around. Chen Yuan saw a machine in the corner of the room. This machine is a brain-computer device. Chen Yuan already knew what it was used for. To put it simply, it is. Contestants can use it to transform their creations into concrete. It's like a movie. What picture is in mind? What kind of picture can be presented by the machine? The function can be said to be very powerful. Brain-computer device. Chen Yuan looked at the machine with curiosity. And it didn't take long. On the display screen on the wall in front of him, a reminder of the official start of the game appeared. And with it. And the theme of this first game. Monster, Extreme Horror and Despair. Chapter 2. After the 10 contestants entered their respective creation rooms, the first competition-themed lottery ceremony officially began. The staff took out the opaque box containing the theme, and the judges were in charge of the lottery, and in the end, the theme of the first contest selected by the lottery was Monster, Extreme Horror and Despair. After the theme was drawn, it was officially announced to the contestants, and the competition officially began. At the same time, the cameras and other equipment in the 10 creative rooms were also officially launched. They will broadcast the creative process of the contestants live to countless viewers. And with the official start of the game, the popularity of the already high live broadcast room of the creation contest is also increasing. At a frightening rate. Each contestant is divided into a small live broadcast room screen. 10 players. 10 live broadcast room screens. As the tournament officially began, the audience was able to see the different performance of these players. Some frowned and pondered. Some paced back and forth. Others are already sitting in front of their computers, as if they are ready to start working. Looking at the dynamics of the players, the audience in the live broadcast room is also talking endlessly. The theme of this first game is actually monsters, the ultimate horror and despair, and it's a little scary to read. Tut tut, I didn't expect it. I actually pulled out such a theme. Monsters? Does that mean that these 10 contestants are going to create a novel with monsters at their core? This theme is really surprising, but it also seems a bit old-fashioned. Monsters, it's nothing more than some big monster, etc. Haha, my favorite number 3 player seems to be better at this, I'm looking forward to it. In this first match, I don't know which player will win, so I'm more optimistic about the number 6. The theme is monsters. Inside Creation Room 9. Chen Yuan looked at the information on the screen and muttered. And on the screen, in addition to the subject information, the requirements for the first game are also listed. There is no limit to the subject matter, but it is required to be a short story. That is to say, this first game, contestants should create a short story with good quality and impressive content as the theme of monster, and even stand out among the 10 contestants. And as for the subject matter, there are not too many restrictions. It can be a short story. It can also be a short script. Or some other mode of literary creation. After all, there are directors, writers, screenwriters, and so on among the judges. The contestants' work will certainly not be buried. Monster. The ultimate horror and despair. Room. Chen Yuan, who was sitting on the sofa, read the theme information of his creation again. All sorts of thoughts swirled through his mind. And just a few seconds later, His eyes lit up slightly. Monsters, horrors, and desperate. Chen Yuan muttered, his thoughts becoming clearer and clearer. Yes. The theme of this first game reminded Chen Yuan, who is a senior enthusiast of the Containment Foundation, of a guy who can't look at his face and is more shy. The official number of this shy guy. It's Containment 096, the shy person. That's right. Before Chen Yuan crossed, he was a senior enthusiast of the Containment Foundation, and he had a relatively deep understanding of the Containment Foundation. He knew very well that the guy who couldn't look at his face. Its anomalous properties. What a thriller. Others he doesn't know. Anyway, when he first learned about this guy's file, he was shocked. At that time, he couldn't imagine that there could be such an extremely terrifying monster in this world. Absolutely. He knew that the other party was just a fictitious existence. However, when he first read the archives, Chen Yuan still remembers the terrifying mood until now. So. It's you, 096. Chen Yuan made up his mind in his heart. And that's exactly what happened. In Chen Yuan's mind, a crisp system prompt suddenly sounded. The authoring system is on. The creation system has been successfully activated. Authoring system. Chen Yuan raised his eyebrows. Subsequently, after a preliminary understanding, Chen Yuan knew the functional of the system at the current stage. The functionality at this stage is actually quite simple. Just one. That is, Chen Yuan's memory can be recreated. All the memories before the crossing are recreated. For example, as long as you read the information about the Containment Foundation, even if Chen Yuan remembers it clearly, the system can help it reproduce. Don't worry about forgetting, and so on. Very convenient and easy to use. With the system, that's not a problem. Chen Yuan put away the system panel and smiled. Then he looked around the room. I thought about it. It went to brain-computer devices. Anyway, the time frame for the first game is 24 hours. The 096 file is not long, and he doesn't need to rush to write it. It's better to try brain-computer equipment first. Brain-computer devices are relatively high-tech things. Anyway, Chen Yuan hadn't seen it before the crossing. This machine can transform creations into images. What you think is what you see. It can be said that it can truly make a person's rich imagination into a real magnificent picture. It's incredibly powerful. As a traverser, Chen Yuan is still quite curious about this machine. Moreover, there is no need to rush to write the file. But the video works. Chen Yuan felt that he should study first. Chapter 3. The first competition is short story creation. The allotted time is only 24 hours. Contestants have to create a work that can be played within 24 hours. Let's be honest. It's not a small difficulty. But that's what the contest wants. The competition is to select talents. Who can stand out in this short time? Whoever wins. Time passes little by little. Soon, 24 hours, 1/6 of, had passed. There are only 20 hours left. And the 10 contestants, after conception, basically began to enter the state of creation. Time is limited after all. They can't afford to spend too much time thinking about it. And as the contestants entered the creative state, the discussion of the audience in the online live broadcast room became more and more enthusiastic. Ha ha ha. My favorite number 7 has already started writing. Number 3 strongest. I think number 6 is not bad, he's the champion of our province. Shit. Number 8 is the strongest, we are the of a village. Come on, come on. Woo woo, I like number 9, number 9 is the most handsome. Upstairs, this special meow is a creation contest, hey, not a beauty contest. Hey, don't say it, the other contestants have already started to write scripts now, what are these number 9 contestants doing? SHHH? HHH. Oh, really, this number 9 player doesn't seem to be very professional. The audience in the live broadcast room was stunned. More and more people are pouring into the number 9 live broadcast room. There is no other reason. While the other contestants had already started to create the text version, only contestant number 9 was sitting on the brain-computer device. Apparently working on a brain-computer device to make his video based. It's one of a kind. To know. Although there are brain-computer devices. However, the contestants are also required to create a text version of their work. Normally, the contestants choose to create a text version of the work first. After that, and then according to their own works, utilizing brain-computer devices, create a video version of your work. Then, the text version is combined with the video version. Presents a perfect work. But what's the matter with this number 9 player? He didn't even say a word, and first ran to the brain-computer device to make a video version of the work. This behavior, it's really unique. And not just the audience in the live broadcast room. The judges and hosts in the studio hall also noticed of the number 9 contestant after a while. The host Bing Bing said with some curiosity. Our contestant number 9 was a little different, so what kind of video would he create? Subsequently, the host, Xiao Sa, also interviewed the judges and guests. The judges in accordance with the process. After all, the competition is a live broadcast format, and it is also the competition process for the judges to comment on the creations of the contestants. The first interview was the chief judge with thinning hair, Li Jun. Li Jun is the chief judge of a well-known domestic award and the chief judge of the domestic division of the creation competition. I saw Li Jun frowning. After looking at the picture of player number 9 for a while. Then he smacked his lips and shook his head and said, I think, this young man on the 9th, his personality is not calm enough, since it is creation, then he should be down to earth. If there is no text, how can he create a good video work? All in all, I'm not very optimistic about this lad. No 9. Li Jun's meaning is obvious. All video entries in the creation competition, whether good or bad, must have a textual basis. It's like building a tall building. You don't have a solid foundation, so you build a building of air? Another example is a good movie, a TV series, and so on. Don't you all have to have a good script? Even if it's a short video. At the very least, you should have a rough draft of the process in your mind in advance. Li Jun's words were echoed by many of the other judges and even the public jury. Everybody thinks. Since it is a creative competition, you should first seriously create an excellent text work, and then consider creating a video work based on the text work. And the behavior of the contestant number 9. It is undoubtedly a reversal of priorities. Reversed cause and effect. And in doing so, basically, it is not going to create a good. Absolutely. There are also people who give a different opinion. For example, whether the number 9 player is confident and will eventually make a splash, and so on. But this view is in the minority, and after all, it is drowned out by many doubts. But it was also when the audience in the live broadcast room and the judges questioned it. Chen Yuan in the number 9 creation room. Suddenly, there was movement. I saw him take off his equipment. Walked down from the brain-computer device. And sat down at the computer desk. After a crackling operation, he stopped. And just when everyone thought that number 9 suddenly started to create text works, and fell into a bottleneck, they were thinking about it. Number 9 actually stood up. And come to a camera. Knock on the lens. Chapter 4. What? What did he say? This number 9 actually said to write another. Cow. This thing is grandstanding? He seems very unprofessional to make a video first. I see, brothers, this number 9 is 100% rotten. He must have been sure in his heart that he won't win the championship. Actually, I understand him, after all, his opponent is not simple. That's, you know, the champion of our province is one of them. I'm going. What the hell is this number 9 contestant doing? Why do you want to write another article? Bull batch. This player is simply against this guy. I saw this guy get off the brain computer device, froze for a moment, then looked at the time, and then crackled and finished the work. I'm going to vomit blood. This number 9 is too fast to write a text version of the work, isn't it? Is there 10 minutes? What good work can this special meow write? It's outrageous. Everyone disperses. I think this guy has started to mess up, because he knows that with his own strength, he can't win the championship. He's 100% scribbling. This kind of work can never be a good work. It's too good, right? I still have to write 2 articles. Chen Yuan's words are amazing. The whole live broadcast room blew up. It's the first time they've seen such a wayward contestant, not only doing video works first against common sense. The text version of the work only took about 10 minutes to finish. Even more exaggerated. He didn't even think 1 article was enough. I'm going to write 1 more at this moment. This is a special meow. It's just outrageous, it's outrageous, it's outrageous. It's not just the audience in the live broadcast room who is complaining. Even the judges on the judges' bench were stunned by Chen Yuan's operation. The chief judge, Li Jun, frowned even more. He was stunned for a long time, and it wasn't until the host Bing Bing started interviewing him that he reacted. Hey! This one. This number 9 contestant is very special. Li Jun's brows furrowed deeply. The judges next to me are basically the same. This has never happened to everyone. But carefully consider the rules of the creation contest. The judges found that Chen Yuan's request does not seem to be a violation. After all, the contestants are in their own creation room. Here, it's impossible to cheat. Moreover, still within the stipulated time. As long as the player is capable enough, it's okay to write 10 or 8 articles. Considering this, eventually, the chief judge, Li Jun, said helplessly. Strictly speaking, contestant number 9 is not against the law. As long as he can write it, he has no problem writing as much as he wants. Speaking of which, Li Jun changed his words again. However, I think the contestants on the 9th are a little too arrogant. First of all, I think that the works he has completed so far are not meticulously crafted works, and this kind of careless attitude is the enemy of creation. Here, I can conclude that by the end of the game, 9 times out of 10, he will be eliminated. Speaking of this, he looked at the camera again and couldn't help but preach. Moreover, I want to say that all dreamers who love creation, don't learn from him. This kind of unsteady creative spirit is absolutely unacceptable. Everyone should be down to earth and improve there. Step by step. After Li Jun finished speaking, he looked at room 9 again. This guy must be putting on a show, trying to take the opportunity to gain some attention, probably because he is sure that he has no chance with the champion. Don't say write another 1, write 10 more, that's also rubbish. Li Jun snorted coldly in his heart. He certainly wouldn't have said it directly. But in his heart he had already sentenced number 9 to death. The other side. The words of the chief judge Li Jun have also been recognized by many viewers in the live broadcast room. The barrage in the live broadcast room is overwhelming, and it is basically a disdain for the number 9 contestant. What's more, the verdict has been handed down on the 9th. Thinking that the other party will inevitably be eliminated. After all, whoever looks at it, this kind of work was completed in a very short time. It can't be any better. Unless he's a genius. Speaking of genius though, the other contestants Aren't they all 1 in 10,000 talents? Why is he so special? Countless people are questioning the number 9. And Chen Yuan, who was in the number 9 creation room, couldn't see those doubts. After he received an affirmative reply, I made the creation. Again. And when he felt that the work was almost enough. There's still a lot of time left. Sleep. Chen Yuan, who had finished his creation, lay down on the bed. Under the gaze of countless pairs of shocked eyes, the live broadcast. Sleeping. And time. Also in sleep. Quietly passed. Finally. I don't know how long later. Chen Yuan woke up. And 24 hours of game time. It is also nearing the end. The exhibition and selection of the works of the first competition will be soon. Chapter 5. What time is it? Creation Room 9. Chen Yuan woke up from his sleep. Can't help but yawn. He looked at the time on the wall and found that before he knew it, it was already noon the next day. However, there is still an hour left before the end of the first game. The game isn't over yet. Chen Yuan wondered in his heart. In fact, if other players hear Chen Yuan's voice at this moment, I am afraid that they will directly break the defense. Because until this moment, the other 9 players did not stop to rest for a while. Most of them are finished, but it's just a work. At the moment they are all checking and perfecting the work. Where is it like Chen Yuan, not only has he completed more than one work, but he even has time to sleep. This kind of efficiency directly throws them 18 streets. It's up, it's almost over. In the room, Chen Yuan patted his mouth again, and then got up. After washing up, I sat down on the sofa again. There was even a bottle of Happy Fat House water. The files that have been completed so far include Containment 096, Containment 173, and several other. Chen Yuan held the bottle and thought about. Yes. Before going to bed, Chen Yuan uses brain-computer equipment. The video of Containment 096 has been completed. Then I quickly wrote the corresponding file. And then again. Chen Yuan asked if he could write another. The reason for doing this, Chen Yuan has considered. Because the specifications of this creative contest are relatively high. 10 contestants. It is selected nationwide and layer by layer. In Chen Yuan's opinion, the other 9 players should all be strong. In this case, although Chen Yuan has confidence in 096, his confidence is not 100%. Therefore, Chen Yuan felt, in order to avoid the risk of being eliminated, he might be able to write a few more. After all, a few more works. It's a few more chances. And the rules of this first contest are just for the contestants to write short stories, and specific topics. It didn't say that you could only write one. Moreover, the contestants are still in the creation room, and there is no possibility of cheating. So, judging from the rules, as long as the contestant has that ability, he has no problem writing as many as he wants. And it is. Chen Yuan's request was affirmed. So Chen Yuan, after completing the work of 096, I took the time to make 173, as well as several other foundation works. In Chen Yuan's opinion, the sum of these layers of materials should not allow you to be eliminated. But the other players may be stronger, but they still can't be careless. Chen Yuan touched his chin. Then he put down the bottle and ran to check the finished work. Again. He had to make sure that there were any flaws in the work. The first competition is short story, and until the end of the competition, the audience and the judges will not be able to see the works of the contestants. In the creation room, the camera facing the computer screen will not be turned on to protect the work. After the end of the competition, the works of each contestant will be displayed and the selection will begin. And at this moment, it is only an hour before the end of the game. Except for Chen Yuan on the 9th. The other contestants were basically red-eyed and examined there very carefully. No one was as relaxed and comfortable as Chen Yuan. There is even in the mood to drink happy water. Get up, this 9 finally woke up. Wow! He's really awake. This guy doesn't take the game too seriously? It's inhumane. The eyes of the other contestants are red. He actually slept beautifully, and even woke up and drank Coke leisurely. I'm sure this number 9 is a mess, or he wouldn't have done it. It's not like this product wasn't satisfied with writing a work before, it seems that he wrote something else later, and I really want to see what he wrote now. Oh, my poor brother number 3, his eyes are red, he is so distressed. Labor and management swear here that if number 9 is not eliminated in the end, labor and management will eat upside down. The audience in the live broadcast room is basically indignant. Many people think that the number 9 contestant is very disrespectful to the competition. That's why they criticized number 9. Some were so emotional that they even called on the organizers of the contest to eliminate number 9 in advance. But it was useless for them to appeal again. Follow the rules. Contestants can of course write a second, or even a third, a fourth. Contestants can also sleep. You can also drink the fat house water. So, the practice of the 9th, there are no irregularities. It's unpleasant to watch, and it's helpless. An hour passed quickly. Finally, the first game is officially over. 10 contestants stayed in their rooms to rest while their works were presented. The auditorium. After a day of waiting, the first competition of the much-anticipated creation competition has ended, and our contestants' works have been presented on the big screen. Bing Bing, the host who had a night's rest, introduced with a sweet smile. On the big screen in the studio hall, the works of 10 contestants have been shown. The work is divided into 2 parts, one is a text version and the other is a video version. 10 contestants, 10. Hey? Something is wrong. This. What's going on with this number 9 swollen? The host Bing Bing and everyone on the scene, and even the audience in the live broadcast room, were all dumbfounded. They looked at the position of number 9 on the screen. That's above. It shows the 5 works. And the names of those works are also incredible. The first work. It turned out to be 3 numbers. 096. Chapter 6. Have 5 whole works. There are also video and text versions of Special Meow, I Served My Brother. Wait, didn't this guy say to write 1 more work? Dare he be busy for a long time, and make 4 more? Let's not talk about the quality of the content of the number 9 contestant's work, let's just talk about this efficiency, just 2 words, cow batch. I think this speed is 9 times out of 10, it's shoddy, right? I guess it's all rubbish. I also think so, this number 9 is probably trying to attract people's attention through this method, even if he is eliminated in the end, he has earned a wave of popularity. It's disgusting. If you come up and get 5 works, it's all rubbish. Don't say it, although I feel that the 5 works of number 9 are rubbish, I actually have some interest in them. Ha ha ha. I saw number 3, the name of his work is The Battle of the Monty Python, and I guess the content will be very exciting. The number 3 contestant seems to be good at this kind of theme, so I guess he should win the championship. Because of the regulations of the first competition, before the actual start of the selection process, except for the author himself, others do not know the specific number and content of the works. And because of this, after seeing the work of contestant number 9, the barrage in the live broadcast room broke out. Countless people are surprised by the number 9 contestant who produced 5 works. And with the unbelievable comes an increasingly strong question. After all, the other contestants suffocated to write 1. He was on the 9th, and he actually wrote 5. This difference. It's just too big. It's ridiculously big. Moreover, the names of those 5 works. It's actually weird. What is it called? 096, 173, etc. It's really inexplicable. Many people feel that this is player number 9 playing tricks. In essence, it's still grandstanding. And not just the live audience. Everyone in the studio hall was also shocked. The host Bing Bing even froze when he spoke. In fact, she already knew that contestant number 9 had written more than one work. After all, the other party has made relevant requests before. But she thought she had just written an extra. I really didn't expect that the other party actually wrote 5 articles in one go. This kind of efficiency is so astounding. But after all, he is a professional host. She quickly adjusted and continued to speak. The catalogue of the works of our 10 contestants has been displayed on the big screen, and the next step will be the judging process. Bing Bing spoke at the same time. Many judges on the judges' bench are also looking at the big screen. The chief judge, Li Jun, frowned even more. What the hell is this number 9 doing? Writing 5 works at once? Is this a mess? These works are really not made up randomly. However, although he was very skeptical in his heart, he still maintained his seriousness on the surface. It's just that in his heart, he has already determined the fact of the elimination of the number 9 contestant. It's not just Li Jun. Other judges, as well as a lot of people on the public jury. It's basically the same idea. Nobody thinks. In such a short period of time, what will be the 5 works made by the number 9 contestant? Don't say it's garbage. That's probably about the same. After all, this is a national competition, and the contestants are all creative talents who are 1 in a million. The work that the number 9 contestant casually made is definitely going to be eliminated. After all, the number is large though. But the quality is not good. That's not a big deal. Soon, the competition officially began the selection process. In the judging process, 10 contestants will be randomly selected in turn, and their works will be exhibited. All will come together to taste their creations. And the first contestant selected by lottery was actually the widely favored number 3 contestant. His work is called The Battle of Monty Python. If there is a video version of the work, the tasting session will start with the video version of the work. Then there is the text version of the work. This is because the video version of the work is more intuitive and quicker to convey information. To some extent, it can also reflect the world conceived by the creator more carefully. Absolutely. The text version of the work is also very important, it is the cornerstone of the video version, and its quality can also reflect the creator's personal creative ability. At the same time, the text version of the work is also an important basis for the jury to select the works. But the text version of the work may be a screenplay, or a literary creation with a special theme, etc. For non-specialists, it may not be as the video version of the work in terms of intuitive communication of information, as well as tasting feelings. Soon, the video version of Battle of the Monty Python has been played under the gaze of countless people. It can be said to be a rare good work. The story tells the story of 2 giant pythons who mutated into super monsters because of some encounters, and then fought a crazy battle. Good and evil. The whole story is magnificent. It embodies monsters, horrors, and human despair. It's especially memorable. The chief judge, Li Jun, slapped the table excitedly and made a direct conclusion, I think the work of the number 3 contestant is very good, very good. I have a hunch that in this first competition, the number 3 contestant will get the highest score 9 times out of 10. Most of the others agreed. And then, the text version of Battle of the Monty Python was also shown under people's attention. It is also highly praised. After the number 3 contestant's work has been tasted, those who can't get enough of it have welcomed the second contestant's work. Then came the third, the fourth. until the sixth contestant finishes the show. And judging from the comments in the live broadcast room, the latter few are obviously not as good as number 3. And with the contrast, there are more voices in support of contestant number 3. And after the end of the sixth contestant, the seventh contestant was also quickly selected. What people didn't expect was that he's actually number 9. Ha ha ha, it's the 9th, I want to see what kind of this guy has created. Is it finally the 9th? I know that his work should be good, but I'm still curious. Nonsense, let's get started, I'm waiting to see the others, don't waste time. That, brothers, I'll laugh first, and you can. Whatever you want. Contestant number 9 actually has 5 works, tisk, I just don't know how quality is. Let's be friendly, after all, people are also selected from cut, who knows if there is a shady. The barrage in the live broadcast room, most of them look like they are ready to eat melons and watch a good show. And some of the judges at the scene even laughed. The chief judge, Li Jun, said with a smile. Although the young man on the 9th has some creative spirit defects, being able to come here proves that he still has some strength, everyone be patient and watch. Lip service. But Li Jun had already shook his head in his heart, and even if it weren't for the rules of the competition, he would have wanted to skip this number 3 contestant. Soon. The first work of contestant number 9. The show has officially begun. On the big screen in the studio hall, his first work, 096, was officially played. But what everyone didn't expect was that the big screen turned completely black. Then, in the middle of the screen, a line of handwriting slowly came out. Humans have been multiplying for more than 20,000 years, but only the last few thousand years are meaningful. Chapter 7. We sit around the campfire, afraid of things we don't understand. We call them gods or demons. On the big dark screen in the studio hall, the handwriting was slowly displayed. The whole hall is dimly lit, like a movie theater. Moderator, judges, public jury. All are looking at the screen seriously. There was a slight confusion on their faces, and they didn't know what this so-called 096 was all about. This line of handwriting. Is there something in it? The so-called gods and demons. And what does it represent? Is that literal? And the name of the work is 096, does it have anything to do with these handwritings? Not only the people on the scene. The online audience was also confused. The barrage in the live broadcast room is endless. I'll go, this is the work of number 9? Laughing to death, returning to God, demons, what is this, inexplicable? Don't worry, let's look back, maybe there will be a surprise. Anyway, I'm not very optimistic about the number 9. It's strange, I can't understand it, but I have a mysterious feeling, inexplicably. At a time when many people are questioning. The picture in the studio hall did not stop, it quickly changed. The handwriting disappears for the time being. In their place, there are faint human figures, who seem to be worshipping and praying. And they pray for the presence of it. It seems to be something mysterious and peculiar. Those things can't be seen clearly, only vaguely appearing, but it is certain that none of them are ordinary beings. And soon these images are gone. The handwriting is again. But over time, their numbers are decreasing. We also look at the world more rationally. However, there are still things that cannot be explained. It seems that the universe is deliberately trying to show the absurd and the unbelievable. The subtitles are gone again here. The screen appears again. That's a lot more weird and mysterious figures. But it's all faint. I can't see clearly at all. And these images also disappear very quickly. New handwriting is popping up again. Humans can no longer live in fear. Nothing can protect our. We must protect ourselves. These handwritings poured out. although there is no sound. But in a trance. Everyone also seemed to hear a firm and resolute voice. And the handwriting disappears just as quickly. Instead, it's another picture. It's likewise very vague and vague. But the audience can still see it. That's many, many, many. Ahead of them. It's endless darkness, with endless mystery. And some of them rushed out of the crowd and into the dark. Others, more figures, stayed in place, and around them, there was a bright. At this moment, screen. Darkness and light. The contrast is so stark. It's even a little shocking. And just when countless people were immersed in this picture, suddenly, the picture changed again. The last handwriting, pouring out. We are of the Containment Foundation. We contain, we control, we protect. Scandium is powerful. Yes. Even if there is no sound coming from the whole process. But see this last handwriting. The people in the studio hall, as well as the countless viewers in the live broadcast room. I still feel as if I heard that firm, scandium, resolute, fearless voice. It was as if it was the oath cry of countless warriors. It is the last swan song of countless lives. It's brutal. But it also represents a certain determination to die. And on the big screen, that last handwriting didn't show for long. Soon, they disappeared again. Immediately after, a 3-arrow sign slowly emerge. Next to this sign, it's the word Containment Foundation. Silence. Looking at the 3-arrow sign on the big screen, the studio hall fell silent. There was a slight shock in everyone's expressions. Because no one thought of it. The video 096 that they are not optimistic about will give such a text expression at the beginning, as well as those vague but amazing picture. Containment Foundation. Human worship. Look at. Sensibly. After a while, some judges couldn't help but mutter. After him. More judges spoke. The crowd of the public jury also spoke out. Everyone couldn't help but discuss. This Containment Foundation. Is it an organization that protects humanity? It looks like yes, didn't you notice those images? I can't see clearly, but there seem to be many, many. In those pictures well, how do you say it, monsters, or gods and demons? Is it understandable that they are all incomprehensible to humans? Yes, that's how I understand. As I understand it, what this opening video is trying to convey is that there are a lot of things in this world that cannot be understood, that cannot be explained, and then that humans are against them. This Containment Foundation, perhaps, is the organization that protects humanity. It's a bit of a surprise to me, but I'm a little interested in the rest of the content now. Contain, protect. Tisk, the idea of this contestant number 9 is quite creative. Let's be patient, maybe there will be any surprises, maybe. I don't think there's much to hope for, after all, the creation time of number 9 is too short, and although the setting seems to be a bit novel, the content is not very ideal. There was a lot of talking. And in the midst of these discussions, the picture on the big screen has changed again. The 3-arrow symbol for the containment of the foundation slowly faded, and another image slowly emerged. That's a long shot. It was dark. A helicopter flew through the air. At the same time, a faint sound came from the background. Headquarters, here is. The target has been safely returned to base. The sound of the screen alerted the people in the studio hall, and everyone stopped the discussion. They all looked at the big screen. Started. Chapter 8. Hey, this 096 seems to be interesting. This number 9 is a bit unexpected to me. It's something, but it's not much, and I feel like it's still a bit of a trick. Brothers, I seem to understand, this opening content should be about a world with all kinds of terrifying existences, and then human beings didn't understand at first, and were afraid of those existences, so they worshipped, and then, human beings are more rational, but there are still a lot of those things, human beings can only protect themselves, and that Containment Foundation should be a similar organization. That's right, that's how I feel. Cut, what's so good about this? It still doesn't feel as good as Monty Python. It's okay, but I don't think it's going to be a good work. After all, the creation time of number 9 is too short. How can it be possible to create a high-quality content? I still don't quite understand what the name 096 means. Contain, protect. What to contain, what to control? Is it those strange beings? Protection, I guess it means to protect human beings. Everyone, don't make any noise, it seems that the feature film is about to start, and there is a helicopter. Ha ha ha, I'm betting on 6 big walnuts, and it's definitely not. To bet on this thing. With the broadcast of the opening video of 096, there were also a lot of doubts in the barrage in the live broadcast room. Although there are doubts and ridicules. But compared to before, it's a lot less. And with the official start of the feature film, the audience in the live broadcast room, attention is also drawn to the past. The dim sky. Accumulation of clouds. There is also a comparison with the clouds. A helicopter. That looks a little small. Headquarters, here is. The target has been safely returned to base. Some muffled communication sounded. And then, the picture changes. Instead, it is a view from directly above. It was an unknown location. In the picture, you can only see the ground. That seems a little dark. But a few seconds later, 3 people in white protective suits came into view. There was light shining in the distance. The shadows of the 3 stretched out on the ground. Hey, the 3 of them, still wearing. That's a hazmat suit, right? They're on a mission. What mission do you need to wear a hazmat suit? It's weird, what kind of biochemical mission? I still want to ask, do these 3 people have anything to do with the name of the work 096? What the hell is 096? Video works continued to. 3 men in protective suits came into view and walked straight forward to. Then, the perspective of the picture continues to change. There are bullet casings scattered all over the place. They looked cold, as if they were illustrating of an unusually fierce battle. The glass with bloody handprints is faint, and the audience can feel the desperate of the owner of the bloody handprint before he died. There are also empty, huge walkways. The cold and hard texture of the concrete makes people feel a little chill when they look at this picture. In addition to that, there is also a picture of the blood-stained workshop, and even the computer on the desk in the workshop is still flickering. What's going on? How do I feel like there's some kind of battle going on in this place, and it's terrible. This place is a base, it feels cold, and it seems to be hiding some. I can't see through it, this film feels so mysterious. Tisk, I'm a little interested. Numerous images flashed across the screen. And in these pictures, interspersed with 3 figures in protective suits. They are cautious and cautious. They walked into the huge passageway. There was an icy white light shining down from the ceiling. They cut through the shadows. Walk through the gates. Eventually, they seem to have come to a wall, or a container. And on the walls of this container, there's a big hole. It seems to be something that, from the inside out, brute force destroys it. Fragmented debris was scattered. The ground. And as the camera pulls forward, the audience can see from the broken part of the wall, this wall is very thick as a whole. There are also a lot of steel bars and other things. But even so, it's still ruined. No one could have imagined What the hell is it that can destroy such a wall with such brute force? What the hell is this? Such a thick wall, what is this thing for? It's scary, this thing, even if you drive a big truck and hit it directly, can't it? Definitely, this thickness, coupled with the material inside, not to mention the truck, I guess it's just a forklift, etc., it's not good. Oh boy, that's terrifying. Wait, could this be caused by some monster? Ha, a bunch of turtles, the destructive power of the previous battle of the giant python is not much better than this. Nima, will you die if you don't speak? It's a bit exciting, I'm wondering what the hell this hole is made of. It's average, but it doesn't feel as good as Battle of Monty Python. The barrage in the live broadcast room is dense. The hole in the wall in the video has aroused the curiosity and speculation of a large number of viewers. And the judges on the scene are the same. Almost everyone subconsciously thinks, what the hell is it? Can you wreak havoc like that? And in the midst of this contemplation, soon, the picture on the big screen has changed again. The previous image is gone. An incredibly huge room gradually emerge on the screen. The ceiling of this room is all rectangular lamps that glow white, neatly arranged. But there was a certain coldness. And in the distance, in the middle of the room, there is one more thing. That's a huge container. Just watching, the audience will be able to feel the solidity. And at the same time, when the picture in this room gradually became clearer, 3 numbers also appear in the center of the screen. It's not something else. It was 096. Chapter 9. It. A container. Is that a container? What is it for? Containers? Upstairs, why do you think it's holding things, not keeping things closed? Hiss. It's scary to think about it. 096. The feature film is finally about to start, and I feel as if I understand something. That thing looks like it's holding something, it's a horse-riding thing, it's kind of scary. I have to admit that these number 9 contestants still have a little bit of a level, but the overall quality still depends on the follow-up content. Bullshit 096, my evaluation is not as good as Battle of the Giant Python. Yes, that's right, I've always had this evaluation. Why do I feel a hairy feeling in my heart when I look at this picture? Oh yes, I find that I'm already looking forward to the rest of the story. 096. The feature film is coming. The number of people online in the live broadcast room is increasing. There are more and more barrages. Obviously, the work of the number 9 contestant has attracted the attention of many people. Not only the audience in the live broadcast room, but also the judges in the studio hall have changed their views on 096 slightly. It seems that this work on the 9th hides a lot of information. Yes, from the opening to the present, this work has been constantly surprising me, and now I am really looking forward to the plot later. I think it's okay, although this 096 is not as bad as I imagined, but there is still a lot of distance from the level of Battle of the Monty Python. I think so too, but I'm actually curious in my heart, what is this 096? I also have such doubts. Hey, I have to admit that in terms of suspense, this 096 is still quite good. Let's take a look. In addition to the audience in the live broadcast room, as well as the judges and hosts on the scene, etc., 10 contestants will also be able to see their works on display. At this moment, in Creation Room 3, a boy looked at the screen with a frown. 096? Humph. The boy's name is Zhou Xing. It was he who created Battle of Monty Python. And through the comparison with several other works, Zhou Xing has greatly enhanced his confidence. Because, he felt that the works he showed later were much inferior to his works. So, he thinks, in this first proposition competition, he will win the first place 9 times out of 10. As for the number 9 contestant, This guy actually wrote 5 works. Such a short time. 5 works? Laugh to death. Think with your ass. I also know what kind of quality it is. So. Obviously. This guy is just a clown who grandiose and relies on such shoddy means to gain popularity. Zhou Xing looked down on number 9 from the bottom of his heart. Although after 096 was officially broadcast, he also saw that 096 was a little unusual. But it's just a little bit. He still doesn't think it's a good work. Wait, I don't believe that this so-called 096 can be any better. Zhou Xing sneered. Keep looking down too. In the studio hall. The image on the big screen froze for a moment in the huge room where the mysterious container was kept. Then, the picture changes again. But what you see is not the scene of the huge room that the audience imagined. It's instead an office. There is a projected light curtain on the wall of the office. On the screen, a three-dimensional 3-arrow logo of the Foundation is slowly rotating. On the side of the desk in the office sat a man with glasses. The man's hair was slightly grey, and he was obviously not young. He has an identification badge draped from his chest, on which the Foundation's 3-arrow emblem can be seen. He clasped his hands together and looked away. Seems a little nervous. After waiting for a while, the man reached out and took off his glasses and rubbed his eyes. And at the same time, the office door was also opened. A woman dressed in professional attire walked in with a file box. Seeing this, the man hurriedly put on his glasses. Women also wear identification badges around their necks, as well as a 3-arrow logo. They all appear to be members of the Containment Foundation. The woman sat across from the man. She placed the box on the table, opened it, and took out several documents from it. And then, she turned on the projector. A line of writing appeared in the light curtain. Containment 096-1A Incident. I'm Supervisor Arya, and now, I'm going to begin Phase 5 of the Containment 096-1A Incident Investigation. Arya's voice was calm and cold. It gives a sense of pressure. I'm in charge today, Dr. Dan. Alia crossed her hands with a calm expression. Dr. Dan, who was across from her, looked at her with an irrepressible tension on his face. Did you catch 096? He has a loud voice and seems to be a little emotional. Yes, it has been successfully contained, and you will be happy with this result. Alia remained calm. Whew! Thank goodness! When Dr. Dan heard this, he immediately let out a long breath. It's as if the stone in my heart has finally landed. Of course, we have some questions. After all, it is difficult to get some photos. This accident. We hope you can help us. Alia said again. Okay. Dr. Dan responded. Now, based on the records, we want to know where you were when the containment breach occurred. Dr. Dan recalls, I was in the mountains and working with a local geographic agency on a project to dig up comparative laboratory samples. So, who was in charge of the lab in your absence? Dr. AI. What are the containment procedures for Containment 096? Dr. Dan took a deep breath and said. As per protocol, Containment 096 is to be contained in the containment block of Containment Hall 13. No windows, no cameras, no chance to see its face. Any instrument, or life support system, strictly follows the operating procedures. Thank you. Then, what exactly is the containment breach? Dr. Dan shook his head. I haven't been told exactly when. Alia nodded. Yes, sorry doctor, we made a bit of a mess. Dr. Dan was silent. He looked up at the camera in the corner of the wall, lost in thought. Alia asked, Doctor. Are they watching us? Asked Dr. Dan suddenly. Dr. Dan, you have to be more specific. Alia responded. I'm talking about the O5 Council. Are you watching us? Alia nodded. Yes. When Dr. Dan heard this, he immediately said, then maybe now they are willing to listen to me. He looked at the camera and excitedly said, we've got to kill it. In the future, it could be another unimaginable disaster. Alia is still calm. Unfortunately, for those who have already passed away, it is already too late. Dr. Dan was stunned. He frowned, then propped his hands on the table. What do you mean? Let's start from scratch. Alia controlled the projector. The light curtain on the wall changes. It looks like a camera shot. In the picture is a large containment block. It's the same container that shocked the audience in the previous picture. And at the moment, this container is broken. A thin but tall figure. I stand next to the container. Because of the processing, its face cannot be seen in the picture. But when Dr. Dan saw this, he was so frightened that he quickly turned around and put his hand next to his eyes. Relax, doctor. Alia spoke, all the protocols have been followed, don't worry about. When Dr. Dan heard this, he relaxed slightly and looked tentatively at light curtain. And Alia continued. All the personnel in the containment chamber have seen its face closely, and unfortunately, this is just the beginning. After saying that, Alia operates the instrument again. And then, the light curtain on the wall changed. Again. A horrific massacre. It's about to be unfolded in front of everyone. Chapter 10. Containment 096-1A Incident. Now it's certain that the Foundation is an organization. Then, those two people in the video must be Foundation staff, right? Definitely. And, as you can see from this video, the so-called 096 is supposed to be a containment. The Foundation. What is the containment? Could it be the blurry monsters from the original opening video? Containment 096. I see, this guy in the video, this tall and skinny, it's Containment 096, it's 096. Oh my good! This amount of information almost blew my head out. I'm actually curious to know why this so-called 096 has a mosaic on its face. Besides, the woman in the video says that all the personnel in the containment chamber have seen its face, as if it's a really bad thing. Why is that? Yes, I think the doctor in the video is also acting strangely, and when the projector came out, the doctor immediately turned his head to block his eyes, as if he was afraid of what he would see. Wait, could the doctor just be scared to see that 096's face? What a mess! Why can't 096's face be seen? Well, I'd like to know what that doctor is talking about the O5 Council. Oh my god, I feel like I've understood something, but now there are more questions. Let's look back, when it's over, everyone will understand. Studio Hall. The broadcast of 096 continues to. Not only the audience in the live broadcast room, and the judges and the moderators, and the participants. All of them were attracted by the plot of 096. Unconsciously. The preconceived negative impression of 096 has been improved to a certain extent. But there are still people who dismiss it. Always convinced that it is a garbage work. But that's normal. After all. No matter what kind of work it is. There will always be people who are not satisfied with it. It's almost unavoidable. 096 plot. All the personnel in the containment chamber have seen its face closely, and unfortunately, this is just the beginning. In the office, Alia operates the instrument, and the image in the light curtain on the wall changes. As far as the eye can see, it's a laptop. The computer screen displays complex data and graphics, as if watching something. The projector light curtain screen is slightly shaky. This means that this picture should be provided by a video recording device. And while the picture is shaking, a man's voice rang out. This is Researcher M, and The following is a log of events related to 096. It was about 3:57 p.m., and our A1 and A2 audio sensors, well, captured something. Researcher M looked up. Then, in the light curtain screen, the huge container appeared. This is the containment block of 096. The containment block is large and sturdy. There are thick cables connecting the containment block. Another man in a hazmat suit, Researcher D, is standing next to the containment cube with a device in hand. The containment block as a whole appears to be extremely thick. It is printed with the huge, yellow, somewhat mottled 096-3 numbers. Researcher D stands next to the containment block, looking very short. This can also be deduced from the size of the containment block. Then the screen flashed. The camera becomes the perspective of the video device worn by Researcher D. Researcher D was looking down and swiping over the screen of an instrument, and there was a point of light on the screen that appeared to be displayed. Some existing location. Ugh. Now there's movement again. This data indicates that SCP-096 is currently staying on the north wall, remaining motionless. Researcher D spoke. And while he spoke, the audience also heard a faint, crying and whimpering, or screaming. It's very dull. But it's obvious. Researcher D sensed that something was not quite right. Well, we should probably call Dr. AI over. And just after his voice fell. Suddenly. Bang. There was a dull loud bang. Came from the containment cube beside him. Researcher D was taken aback. He looked at the containment cube, and the bad feeling intensified. Because that dull loud sounds. It's like there's something. It's pounding the barrier of the block. 096 has changed. As a member of the Foundation, Researcher D knows exactly what this voice represents. And at the same time, real-world audiences. They were also shocked by the strange movement. Damn! What does this sound like? Sounds horrible. These two researchers are in 096's containment cell right now, listening to the movement. Is there something unusual in 096? It's kind of like screaming. Anyway, it's a terrifying sound. Got it. This 096 is the containment object in this Foundation. What the two people in the office were discussing before was an accident, well, a containment breach. Obviously, the hole in the wall in the previous picture was made by this 096. Is this thing really that fierce? Horror, judging from the previous picture, this 096 will definitely rush out of it, right? What is the situation with this 096, why is it so close, and it suddenly goes crazy? Who knows, but I've officially changed my mind about this work now, and it's not bad, at least I'm interested. Tisk, I feel that it's still not as good as Battle of Monty Python. Yes, it's still my. What's better than rolling, dot. Damn, even though I know the result, I know that the thing will rush out, but I'm still nervous and scared. I'm already worried about the two researchers. 096 plot. Woo. A faint sound kept ringing. Both researchers at the side of the containment cube are aware of the anomaly. And after that dull loud noise, Researcher M immediately exclaimed. It's not going to come out? Researcher D next to the containment cube immediately turned his head and shouted, call Dr. AI, dot. But his voice just fell. I heard a loud bang that was louder than the sound just now. Boom. Immediately after the loud bang. It's a sudden shattering of a barrier of the containment block. And after the crumbling, a clear scream was heard. Researcher D, who was still in shock, subconsciously turned his head to look. He saw a tall and thin figure. And then he hadn't even reacted yet. The figure rushed over in an instant. Knock him to the ground. The angle of view of the frame is his video equipment. So the outside audience looks. It's like you've been knocked down. Screams of terror resounded in my ears. And the whole picture. It's almost all filled with a specially treated face. And between the shaking of the perspective, the audience only saw the 096's extremely long, disproportionately terrifying arm stretched out towards himself. Chapter 11. That figure was very thin and tall. After rushing out of the containment block, it quickly knocked down the researcher not far away. The camera shakes wildly. Plus that piercing and terrifying scream. The whole scene is unusually terrifying. The audience in the live broadcast room. The staff of the studio hall. Even the contestants were shocked by this scene, and even frightened. Before you know it, many people have goosebumps on their arms. Although it was still daytime, a faint fear still welled up from the depths of heart. Groove groove groove. Oh yes, I'm scared to death. This is Containment 096? Meow, it's a humanoid monster. It's scary, but what I want to ask is, why did you code its face? I'm actually curious about what it looks like. Is this 096 a normal human mutation? It's weird, and the arms are so long. Damn. I found that if this 096 goes to play basketball, the scene is simply amazing. Standing there casually, stretching out his long hand casually, it is estimated that it will be much more awesome than 2.5 years of practicing XI. Yes, yes. Oh no, little cub upstairs, how long will you say that again? 666. I'm wondering now, why did this 096 suddenly go crazy, and why didn't he show his face, even though his face was probably scary? It's over. Judging by the destructive power of this 096, these two researchers are going to be cold. Oh my boy! The plot is starting to get excited. 096 plot. A tall, thin humanoid monster that pounced on researcher D. began to attack like crazy. That look. It's like a crazy person desperately trying to kill his enemies. Video recording of researcher D's screams. The screams were mixed with the screams of 096. It makes you feel your scalp tingle when you listen to it. And 096's arms are more than just incredibly long. The palm of the hand is also big and scary. The sharp and hard claws are estimated to be able to make researcher D die soon. And his video recording equipment was also destroyed. The recording then stopped. A brief blue screen appears on the screen. Soon, however, the scene shifts to the perspective of another surviving researcher. Researcher M continued to curse. He quickly ran away in one direction, trying to escape his life. But the reality is cruel. Containment 096 killed researcher D, and quickly turned and chased after researcher M who had escaped. The tall body, although thin, shows a fast and terrifying speed. In the blink of an eye, it rushed to researcher M. In researcher M's screams of despair, it pounced on the other party. And then, the picture shook violently. And soon disappeared. The blue interface is displayed. Obviously. Researcher M's video recording equipment is also broken. And after the blue interface appeared, the projector light curtain screen is temporarily over. Office scenes appeared in front of the audience again. Oh my god! In the studio hall, seeing the host Bing Bing on the big screen, he couldn't help but cover his mouth. Her face was a little pale. Because of the plot change of 096, it gave her a lot of shock, as well as fright. She never thought that the so-called 096 was actually a containment object of the Containment Foundation. This containment object is humanoid. Tall and thin, but thin. But despite looking so thin, but it was able to break the barrier of such a heavy containment block. What a terrifying force this is. Moreover, that kind of screaming when you go crazy. That kind of violent stance. It's terrifying. Even if you know it's a video, Just looking at the big screen, Bing Bing will unconsciously beat faster, and even break out in a cold sweat. She had to admit it. Although the previous number 3 contestants' work, the Battle of the Monty Python, gave her a great shock. But compared to the level of horror, it seems. Contestant number 9096. Not to mention that. I don't know what the plot looks like behind it, and what is the specific situation of this containment object 096. Bing Bing muttered quietly in her heart. And not just Bing Bing. The rest of the audience. They all basically feel the same way. Merely. People's opinions are diverse. So. There will always be people who are not satisfied with 096. For example. Chief Judge Li Jun. At the moment. Li Jun looked at the big screen. He felt like he was in a cold sweat. Apparently, he was also frightened by the real and terrifying images of 096. Still. When the judge next to him whispered to ask him what he thought, he still straightened his face, straightened up, and said solemnly in a commenting posture. The quality of this 096 does not seem to be as bad as imagined at the moment. It seems that our number 9 contestant is still at some level, but in my opinion, his level is still a little different from that of number 3 contestant. Let's look at the follow-up content of this 096. I guess on the whole, the level of this work will not be too high, because the creation time is limited. It's Chapter 12. Creation Room 3. Number 3 contestant Zhou Xing has not slept for more than a day, and his eyes are a little red. Be that as it may. He didn't feel any sleepiness now. Because his attention is on the room screen. Containment 096, Containment Foundation. Zhou Xing's brows furrowed very tightly. I have to admit it. As the plot develops, 096 gives him more and more surprises. At the same time, there is also a vague sense of crisis. But this sense of crisis is fleeting. Because he is very confident in himself. It's just a strange monster, what's the big deal, it's far less exciting than my Monty Python battle. Zhou Xing pouted. He was even ashamed that he had just had a sense of crisis. Zhou Xing, be confident in yourself, except for you, everyone else is a garbage. Zhou Xing muttered to himself in his heart. And with the self-brainwashing, his expression gradually became calm and time passed slowly. The live broadcast room of the creation contest is getting more and more popular. The hot search list of major platforms is an obvious example. In the first game of the creation contest, the dark horse came out of the sky. What is the truth of 096? Contain, protect. Let's watch together. Shock from 096. Why does the monster in 096 have to coat its face? Is there any ulterior secret? The battle of the two pythons is so shocking. The battle between the two pythons is wonderful. Because of the existence of the hot search list. A lot of people who didn't pay attention to the competition. I can't control my curiosity. Flocked to the live broadcast room. After watching the work display, some people will choose to post to express their feelings. And so on and so forth. Let the competition become more and more popular. Almost directly crushed all kinds of other programs. And with the arrival of more and more people. 096, which is being played, has also received more and more people's attention. 096 plot. In the office. The projector light curtain is restored to its original appearance. Alia looked at Dr. Dan, her face still maintaining an almost indifferent calmness. As you can see, Doctor, they've all been prey to 096. And after analysis, we believe that 096-1 may not be nearby. Wait. Dr. Dan said incredulously, looking away from the projection light screen. During the first phase of the containment breach, the anesthetic was in automatic protocols. Automatic security protocols are broken. Alia interrupted Dr. Dan with a sudden opening. The most likely cause of this is manual. Alia looked directly at Dr. Dan with a compelling gaze. And in this accident, Dr. AI. Before Alia could finish speaking, Dr. Dan clenched his fist and slammed it on the table. Horseman, where the hell is that guy? Alia remained calm. He was found hiding in a clean closet in the 3rd department. Alia paused. He's dead. Dead. Dr. Dan's eyes widened in disbelief. Yes. Hearing the affirmative answer, Dr. Dan slowly lowered his head and took off his glasses. AI. You idiot. Doctor, I regret this. Alia said as she began to flip through the file in front of her and turned on the projector. Again. A map is displayed on a projection light screen. There seem to be mountains and so on above. A straight red line is marked with a tracking frame on. Containment 096 has been moving up the hill since breaking out of the base. After Arya finished speaking. In the real world, on the big screen in the studio hall, the picture directly changes. It was an endless sky. A huge fighter jet. Fly quickly through the air. At the same time, there is also a communication voice. Headquarters, this is Black Hawk 1, approaching the projected location of the target, over. See here. The audience knows. What follows will be of what happened after Containment 096 broke out of the base. Made. After reading this paragraph, I have another question. What is 096-1, what is it? Yes, that Alia said that they think that 096-1 is not nearby. What does that mean? Haha. I see, 096 is the humanoid monster, and 096-1 is the monster's wife or spouse or something, and the two are separated, so 096 will go crazy because it wants to find its wife. This is the angle of explanation, ox pie. Horse rider, give me a fork out of the love brain, shoot me for 5 minutes. That Dr. AI is actually dead. If I remember correctly, Dr. Dan is not here. He seems to be in charge of the laboratory. Listening to the woman, this containment breach accident seems to be a little not simple. Damn, how do I feel a strong smell of conspiracy? Ha ha ha, I feel that this video is getting more and more exciting, and it also uses fighter jets. Exciting. I think so too, and I'm looking forward to the next plot more and more. He, it's still the same sentence. I don't feel as good as Battle of the Monty Python. Damn. It's you again. 096 has rushed out of the base. I'm a little curious now, will it kill people when it sees them? Chapter 13. Studio Hall. When they saw a fighter jet whizzing past on the big screen, everyone was shocked. The judges, including the members of the public jury. I can't help but talk about it. The brain idea of this number 9 contestant is still good, but I still don't know. What does this so-called 096-1 mean? 096-1 isn't nearby, there's some information hidden in this area's words. Ah. Hehe, I have to admit that I was a little contemptuous of contestant number 9 before. 096 This work is really good, but in the end, it depends on the content later. At present, this work should be able to rank in the middle and upper reaches of this game. I don't think it's necessarily. The idea of this work is still good, and the plot is very attractive. To be honest, I don't know why, I'm not very interested in this work. When the judges were talking, Li Jun, the chief judge on the judges' bench, frowned and stared at the big screen. He felt a little uncomfortable. Because I said before that I was not very optimistic about the number 9 contestant. But who knows that the work of number 9 doesn't seem to be too bad. This made him feel a little embarrassed. Even the whispers of the people next to him felt as if they were aimed at him. This number 9. Li Jun muttered silently. I feel very uncomfortable. But there is some helplessness. This made him very depressed. 096 plot. On the big screen in the studio hall, a fighter jet whizzes by. Headquarters, this is Black Hawk 1, approaching the projected location of the target, over. The fighter pilot reported. Black Hawk 1, Roger, keep course. Headquarters responded immediately. Then, the screen cuts to the inside the fighter. You can see through the porthole, the vast but desolate land below. After flying for a while, the fighter pilot reported again. I seem to see something. 2 seconds later, he spoke again, the target is visible. After his voice fell, the screen switches to a top-down perspective. As you can see, yellow desolate earth. A small figure is running at top speed. Because it's too fast. There's even a lot of dust behind it. Damn, this is 096, this special Mia runs faster and fiercer than a supercar, right? It's too strong, it's too fast. Good guys. I feel like a fighter can't even fly it. How does this thing run so fast, can it go any faster? Oh, virtual works, the author can make up as much as he wants, why is it so realistic? You understand? Oh my god, this is 096. Apply to fire. Having seen the target, the fighter pilot did not hesitate and quickly made an application. You can fire. Hearing the command, the driver takes a deep breath. And then a dive. Move, aim. Then the weapon system was officially launched. Fire. Bang bang bang. The furious cannon sprayed a large number of shells in an instant. Boom. Almost at the same time. On the ground, a whole row of tall and spectacular dust and smoke was lifted. It was an amazing scene. It can be said that the whole planet, there should be no carbon-based organisms, can resist this wave of attacks with your physical body. The power of the cannon can be seen from this. Just after the camera switches to a ground angle. Just 2 or 3 seconds. The audience heard a frantic and terrifying scream, which quickly approached and grew rapidly. And after that, 096 rushed out of the dust area. It's still blazing fast. It can be said that, although after a fierce attack, but the effect on its speed, almost negligible. And this scene also directly stunned the audience in the live broadcast room. Hiss. Physical anti-cannonball. Is this a monster? This. Is it still a carbon-based organism? Oh my boy, it's scary. It turns out that 096 has already reached this point. Ahem, what's that? 096 itself is a monster, as for whether it's a carbon-based creature, then we don't know. It's incredible. This thing is so perverted, how did the Containment Foundation lock it up? I can't close it at all, I didn't see it rush out of the base. That makes sense, how did you put it in the first place? Doesn't work on the target. After a round of strikes, the fighter pilot reported to headquarters. Roger, launch 2 heat-seeking missiles. 3, 2, 1, fire. The fighter pilot skillfully maneuvered the fighter. Follow the instructions. 2 heat-seeking missiles were launched. Only 2 high-pitched pops were heard. 2 missiles pulled out a long tail flame. After a very short period of time, hit 096 in the wild run. Boom. In an instant, a violent roar was heard. Immediately afterward, a huge mushroom-like black cloud rose into the sky. Right on target. The fighter pilot said calmly. As he piloted the fighter jet, he cautiously watched the black smoke and dust. The ground. Just a few seconds. A figure rushed out of the smoke and dust area. And the speed looks. And not much affected. Strike doesn't work. Repeat. Blow doesn't work. The fighter pilot reported loudly. And listen to his voice. Real-world audiences. He couldn't help but widen his eyes. Chapter 14. The first round of cannon covers the strike. Ending, the blow is ineffective. Second round. Heat-seeking missile strikes. Accurate hits. Ending, the blow is ineffective. This situation shocked countless people. The barrage in the live broadcast room boiled directly. Oh my god, physical anti-missile, I'm not dreaming, am? No, man, what you're seeing is the fact that this guy is probably not a carbon-based creature. Oh, all the fuss is said to be a virtual work, no matter how exaggerated it is, it doesn't matter. The main thing is the style of this work, which gives people a sense of documentary and a strong sense of substitution. Now I can't figure it out, just how did the Foundation contain this perverted thing in the first place? Carbon-based creatures? This thing has nothing to do with carbon-based creatures, who knows what the hell? Where is 096 going in the end? Could it have something to do with what Alia said earlier, 096-1? 096 plot. Strike doesn't work. Repeat. Blow doesn't work. The fighter pilot reported loudly. The headquarters personnel on the other side sighed visibly. Roger, Black Hawk 1, return to base. Then he changed his voice and said, Containment team, keep on course. The screen flashed. 3 huge helicopters flew off into the distance. Their goals. It's the 096. Running wildly ahead. The screen changes again, revealing the scene in the office. 096 proves that it's hard to track. Alia spoke calmly. Satellite thermal imaging is not always effective for it, and we can only track it where it is wreaking havoc. After about 2 hours of chase, 096 crossed a highway. Although there were not many vehicles and people on the road at that time, unfortunately, 12 people saw its face. Hearing this, Dr. Dan's eyes were solemn, his body leaned forward slightly, and said solemnly, We have to do more to prepare. When containment breaches. Don't talk to me about anything, it won't happen. Doctor, you've got a pretty good budget. Arya replied. But it seems, you're putting all your energy into SC glasses. Dr. Dan immediately nodded, Yes, I've said it many times, SC is the only chance we can fight that thing. At this, Dr. Dan leaned back and said angrily, Especially when you cubs don't let me do a serious study. After saying that, Dr. Dan looked at the camera in the corner again, I said a long time ago, I should come, I will definitely come. He was loud and a little emotional. Alia was still very calm, Doctor, please calm down, we still have a lot of to do. 096 eventually found 096-1, which was a young man. He lives in a village at the foot of the mountain. With Arya's narration, the screen changes again. It shows the perspective of a helicopter. The ground below is a dense forest. And not far ahead, you can see a corner of the house leaking. As the helicopter flies forward, 2 houses come into view. But at the same time, the audience also heard 096's trademark scream of terror. The screams quickly approached. Subsequently, the man's screams rang out. The scene shifts to the office scene again. Alia said with an almost indifferent expression. His wife, and his newborn child. Among them. Dr. Dan looked back at Alia, silent, with a heavy on his face that was hard to suppress. The perspective switches again. In front of the house. A woman. Holding the child. Nervous and scared. She walked cautiously forward. As he walked, he gently shook the crying child's. She was very worried. Because she heard something unusual. Faintly, it seemed to be a cry. She didn't know what was going on. So she came out to take a look at. Reason. The woman came to the front of the house's warehouse. But there was no response from her husband inside. Reason. The woman raised her voice and shouted again. But there is still no response. The woman's heart is even more worried. She walked a little further, closer to the warehouse door. And when she was close enough to see the scene inside the warehouse door, she was stunned. Because she saw a tall, lanky, naked humanoid. I am squatting on the ground. And in front of it, lying on her husband's mutilated corpse. Ah! After reacting, the woman screamed uncontrollably. And then, that terrible humanoid monster rushed to the woman holding the child. Perspective switching. In the office, Alia asked. Dr. Dan, do you remember anything? Dr. Dan propped his chin with his hands and shook his head slightly. Why? Why can't you just let me kill it? According to the records, Doctor, you don't seem to know how to kill it. Most of your experiments on torturing 096 are inhumane. Dr. Dan was stunned. Then he frowned and asked rhetorically. Cruel, inhumane. You talk to that thing about human, Crazy, right? It doesn't know how many people it has killed. Alia nodded. Yes, Doctor, it's already killed a lot of people, isn't that a tragedy? Dr. Dan leaned back, angry enough to laugh. You. It's just a bunch of psychopaths. Alia is always calm, the only thing we care about is. She looked directly at Dr. Dan and her voice was calm. It's containment, protection. Chapter 15. Contain, protect. The Foundation makes me feel so cold. That's what the Foundation is all about, no matter what happens, they're always there. Damn, I find out I'm a little bit of a fan of this Containment Foundation now, yes. There's a lot of information in this video, that Dr. Dan seems to have been emphasizing that he wants to kill that 096, is this a foreshadowing? 096-1 is actually a man, does this guy have anything to do with 096? Ha ha ha, what about the guy who said 096-1 was 096's wife? Hey brothers, have you noticed, that Alia said that 12 people saw 096's face while crossing a road? Yes, what's wrong with seeing its face? That Alia didn't say what happened to the 12, it can't be all dead, right? Anyway, what kind of SC glasses are? I didn't expect that 096-1 is actually a man, but what is the relationship between this man and 096? I have a vague feeling that this 096 should not be very simple, and the man of 096-1 must have some kind of connection with it. As the plot of 096 unfolds step by step, one puzzle after another was answered. For example, what is the Containment Foundation? Another example. What is 096? But correspondingly, there are also other problems that arise. For example, what is the relationship between 096 and 096-1, and why did 096 kill 096-1? And why did Alia go out of her way to emphasize that 12 people saw 096's face? Does this mean anything? Of course, in the video, 096's face is deliberately coded, and this operation may also be extremely closely related to the above problem. And in addition to these, there are still some questions. For example, what are SC glasses? What does it do? And the Containment Foundation's truth. And so on and so forth. Not only did these questions linger in the minds of the audience, but they also aroused their curiosity and made them eager to know the answers. 096 plot. The only thing we care about is its containment, protection. That's what we're for. In the office, Alia looked directly at Dr. Dan. The voice was calm to the point of being almost cold. Dr. Dan was silent. Alia operated again, and a picture resembling VR glasses was displayed on the projector light screen. Your SC glasses. Tell me, how do they work? Seeing Dr. Dan's silence, Alia spoke again, just for the record, Doctor. Dr. Dan crossed his hands. Take a deep breath and say, they're virtual reality glasses. Every eye is a video stream. AI detects and recognizes images and blurs 096's face. Alia nodded, very clever idea, but also expensive. Unfortunately, they didn't work accordingly. Dr. Dan was stunned, what? Let's move on. Alia looked at the file and responded calmly. After Alia finished speaking. Picture transformations. In the dark. An AWACS aircraft streaked across the sky. There is a communication voice coming out. Mobile Task Force Tau 1, please note, you are approaching the target. The screen shows the scanning equipment of the AWACS. There are a few small dots representing the members of the Tau 1 team, which are slowly moving towards several houses. Be aware of your surroundings. The screen switches to the ground. Several heavily armed team members were cautiously approaching the area of the house. Approaching the target. As the team approached a car, several people heard a terrifying sob. The team leader immediately hid behind the car. Faintly. The team members saw a tall, thin figure standing not far behind the car. There is no doubt about it. It's Containment 096. And it's sobbing. The target has been confirmed. Roger, marked. Bagging and containing. Picture transformations. Several members of the team began to approach the goal. They all wore SC glasses. Through the glasses, they noticed that SCP-096's facial information was framed by the AI and processed. The players were obviously very nervous. During the proximity to SCP-096, they were able to hear the latter constantly emitting sobbing sounds similar to those resembling pain. Woo. Woo woo. With the players after the 096 semi-surrounding. One of the team members went into action. He pulled out a black, opaque bag. Approach 096. With extreme caution. Compared to 096. He was very short. So. In order to complete the task, he had to look up. But before he could get completely close to 096, the state of the ladder has changed. Its crying has actually gotten louder. And the amplitude of the body movements increases, and the emotions seem to begin to become more excited. Something is wrong. The hearts of the team members sank. And soon, some team members reacted. It's SC glasses. It didn't work. With the sound of yelling falling, 096 let out that scalp-tingling scream again. It covered its face with both hands. It looks unusually sad and painful. Fire. With the roar over, the team members shot in an instant. But the fierce gunfire can't hide the screams of 096. And, soon, 096 turned his head to look at a certain team member, and instantly rushed over. Retreat! The pilot of the AWACS shouted loudly. But it's too late. In despair, he saw through the scanner that a group of team members had been killed, one by one. Chapter 16. The idea of SC glasses is really genius, but unfortunately it doesn't work. These glasses blur 096's face? I seem to understand something. Wait, the glasses didn't work, and 096 attacked the team member, Damn, it's really fake. Containment 096 just used that black bag? How do you use it? Do you put this thing on 096's head? Don't say it, don't say it. I think that team member is going to put a bag over 096's head, but 096 went crazy in advance. Why is 096 crying? It feels like it's painful, it's sad. My scalp is numb. I can see it, and the core of the whole work is 096's face. Why? Brothers, I feel that the answer to all the mysteries is 096's face. It doesn't feel as good as War of Monty Python. They upstairs are going to die. 096 plays so far. The audience has already understood. The core element of this work, at least one of them, is none other than 096's face. Otherwise, why hasn't 096's face been exposed from beginning to end? Moreover, judging from the conversations between Dr. Dan and Alia in the plot, as well as a series of events that happened after 096 broke through containment, 096's face, it seems to be a certain kind of taboo. People can't seem to see its face, otherwise something bad will happen. Of course. Although this information is already very obvious in the current plot. But after all, there is still no very direct proof. For example, the dossier indicates and so on. So, I want to know the truth of everything. It's to keep watching. 096 plot. The pilot of the AWACS aircraft was extremely desperate. He watched as the whole team was killed, one by one. Then, screen switching. The office scene reappears. As you can see, Doctor, our entire mobile task force has been annihilated by 096. Alia spoke. 8 excellent task force. Dr. Dan shook his head in disbelief. They should work. I've tested them all. These things have led us to the cause of this. Arya began. She then got up, picked up an envelope and placed it in front of Dr. Dan. Open it. Dr. Dan was silent for a moment. Then slowly open the envelope and pull out a photograph. From inside. Halfway through the draw, he remembered something and said, "What am I looking at? I believe the most important thing is still in the envelope, Doctor." Alia looked directly at Dr. Dan. Dr. Dan thought for a moment. Take another deep breath. And then, he took the photos out of the envelope. And when he saw the contents of the photo clearly, he was stunned for a moment. Then he asked in shock, "Is this it?" Alia nodded, "Yes, it's a photo." 096. Dr. Dan's face was full of incredulity. He looked down at the photo in his hand, and his brow furrowed involuntarily. And the photo in his hand. The picture is just an ordinary landscape photo. A traveler stands in front of the camera. In the distance are the sky and snow-capped mountains. And in the lower right part of the photo. But it was artificially used with some kind of sharp weapon to scratch several scratches. Erase one of those points. Chapter 17. Well? 096's photo, dot. It's weird, 096 is a monster that is so big, why isn't it shown in the photo? Isn't this just a landscape photo? Wait. Could that be 096? Possibly, but there aren't many crossed out parts, and why do you have to cross out the look of 096? It's weird, but I think it should have something to do with 096's face. After all, the previous plot hint is already obvious. 096 plot. Someone photographed it. Dr. Dan looked at the photo in shock. He already had some idea of what the crossed out part was. We trace back to that this photo was taken a long time ago. Alia introduced. And, it seems, that man is the photographer who took the picture. After that, everybody didn't know. Until 096 kills that man. Dr. Dan was shocked. He knew that the man Alia was talking about was the 096-1. Who drew this? Asked Dr. Dan, looking at the picture. Alia said, "Your SC glasses have been recognized. At least it's somewhat useful in this regard." Dr. Dan looked up at her and remained silent. Followed by picture transformations. Where the annihilated task force is. A new, heavily armed soldier was slowly approaching the place. Through his lenient eyes. As you can see, There was a corpse lying on the ground. And the terrifying humanoid monster was standing not far away, letting out a creepy sob. Who? The soldier exhaled slightly. As he got closer, he was able to see the lower half of the humanoid monster's body. He didn't dare to look up. Fear has triggered some kind of fear. He kept his head down. Slowly walked past the many corpses. Until he saw something on the ground. He stopped suddenly. Seeing this, the pilot of the AWACS aircraft in the sky immediately asked, "What's wrong?" "Nothing," the soldier responded. And then, he stepped past the thing. It was a baby's pacifier. As directed, the soldiers carefully searched the entire scene for any possible leads. He saw 096-1, the man who had died miserably. The soldier couldn't help but curse in a low voice. He then patrolled again and eventually came to the man's house. There is a desk by the window in the house. The lamp is on. The soldier saw this. Immediately walked briskly over. Outside the house. The scene of the massacre. Another heavily armed soldier also slowly approached. He kept his head down. Came to the side of the humanoid monster. The sound of heavy breathing can fully show the tension in his heart. And through his vantage point, the sharp nails of the humanoid monster can be seen. It even looked like there was flesh hanging on it. See this scene. The real-world audience suddenly exploded. Damn! This 096 is really Gil's murderous. Damn, these long legs? There's no upstairs anymore. 096's arms are really long, and they don't feel proportional to body. It's terrifying, maid, if I stand in front of this guy, I'll be scared to death. 096 plot. After the soldier came to the side of 096. I took out a black opaque bag. Listen to 096's sobs. He endured his fears. Slowly lift the black bag up. And then, he first estimated the location slightly. Then take a deep breath. Finally, he jerked the bag high. In an instant, it was put on 096's head. After doing it all, he breathed a sigh of relief. And took a step back. Already hooded. The soldier reported. He felt like he was already wet with cold sweat. The other side. In the room. The soldier came to the table. He saw a lot of books and papers on the table. The soldier flipped it a few times. But just as he opened a book, suddenly, the SC glasses he was wearing made a beep. And marked a certain location for him. The soldier was slightly stunned when he saw this. He noted. SC glasses mark the place. It turned out to be on a landscape photo. The background of the photo is the sky and snow-capped mountains. A traveler stands in front of the camera. I found something. The soldier opened his mouth and reported. And then, he heard something strange outside. He looked up. Through the window. You can see the tall back of 096. He found that the latter had put his hands over his face. And let out a whimpering cry that was much louder than the sobs just now. The soldier next to him, who had just completed the containment mission, was shocked when he saw this. HQ. The target is enraged. The soldier shouted loudly. And the soldiers in the room already understood something at this moment. He looked down at the picture violently. Look at the black frame of that prompt. It's over. There was a hint of despair in the soldier's eyes. But he quickly remembered something, quickly found the tool next to him, and quickly scratched up the photo. As he paddled, he looked up nervously and hurriedly out the window. 096, not far from the window, has begun to let out its trademark scream. Seeing this, the soldier paddled harder. He didn't stop until he completely cut through the black box and drew the place where the black frame prompted him disappeared. And at the same time, the screams of 096 outside have also reached their maximum. The soldier threw down his tools and looked up at the window. Although there is extreme despair in my heart. But it can also be regarded as the end of a danger. Invisibly. He saved another person. 2 seconds later. 096 outside began to sprint. In front of the soldiers. 096 wearing a black hood soon appeared. No doubt. This soldier, with his life, eliminated the source of danger and put an end to this containment operation. Chapter 18. See the soldier scratch the picture and stand in place, waiting for death. The audience in the live broadcast room was boiling. Wait, why didn't he run? Why do those SC glasses react to a photo? Isn't this the picture of 096 that Alia just mentioned? The truth is revealed. There is indeed a figure of 096 in this photo, but... well, the image should be a little smaller, so I can't see it clearly. This is terrifying, isn't it? Judging from this situation, this 096 must have some kind of condition to be provoked, right? The photo is a condition. What? Real or fake? Damn. I thought of 096's coded face, and I was terrified to think about it. Is this soldier tantamount to solving a crisis? 096 plot. The soldier stood there, waiting for death to come. The final picture shows 096's head wearing a black hood. Then, the picture changes instantly. The scene of the office is once again in the eyes of the audience. Obviously, 096's face is very small, and in the photo, it is only about 4 pixels. Alia crossed her hands and said calmly. Dr. Dan looked down at the picture and then back at Arya. 4 pixels caused all this. He could hardly believe it. Just 4 pixels. A normal person can barely realize that he has seen it. Horse-ridden, 4 pixels. Dr. Dan shook his head. After a moment of silence, he reached out and pinched his eyebrows. I'm sorry. What are you sorry for? Alia looked at him. Everything. Dr. Dan looked sad. Those glasses should be useful. All the things. My glasses. They are designed to save lives. At this point, Dr. Dan paused. What is the final casualty report? 15 civilians, as well as 48 Foundation personnel, for a total of 63 people. Dr. Dan nodded, thought for a moment, and added. So, what are you talking to me for? Do you want to find someone to scold you? Or to blame for all this? Still calm, Alia pulled out a bag of papers and pushed it to Dr. Dan. This is a request for termination in relation to 096. The O5 Council passed the resolution. Dr. Dan was stunned for a moment. Then there was an incredible look on his face. Then the unbelief quickly turned into a deep excitement. I can kill that guy. You're allowed to try. Alia said. What we need is the findings you draw during your termination, as well as more effective outcomes and plans to increase our containment. Dr. Dan stared at Alia and did not speak. Alia looked down at the document. Doctor, is there anything else you'd like to say? No, that's it. Dr. Dan exhaled slightly. Okay, that's the of the investigation into the Containment 096-1A incident. Alia gathered her things and stood up. Again, Doctor, I'm sorry for all you've lost. After saying this, Alia left. After it leaves, Dr. Dan bowed his head slightly. There was irrepressible excitement in his face. Dr. AI. We did it. Followed by the screen turns. Alia carried the file box and went to a monitoring room. There was a man sitting inside. The man turned around and said, Great job. Alia put the box away. He's smart. Yes. The man replied. Alia turned her head to look at the huge screen in front of her. On the screen, there are not only the surveillance footage of the previous office, but also some O5 numbers. Is the O5 still online? We're still here. A calm voice came out. Alia did a great job. Thank you, sir. It's a short confession for him, but I'm sure it's enough. Arya's voice just fell. There was a male voice, coming from the direction of the screen. It's a shame, but Dan is really smart, and if he had been more motivated, maybe, he would have been able to decipher the of 096's sensory abilities. Another voice rang out. O5-2, relax, he's proven his point. The third voice, the only thing he proves is that he thinks we're all monsters. O5-1 spoke, that's enough, Arya, do you think your instincts are right based on what you've just seen? Alia nodded, yes, the way he took the photo and the way he moved, it already showed that he was very familiar with all this. But how did he warn AI? The man next to him asked. He's not in the control room, that's the clue we have. Alia said quietly, outside help, did Dr. AI say any new clues? No, he's loyal. The man shook his head. But that's enough at the beginning. With that, the man turned his head to look at the screen, where there was another surveillance footage. There sat another doctor. That is, Dr. AI. Obviously. Dr. AI is not dead. And I think I also encountered the same inquiry process as Dr. Dan. Be sure to make him say everything, and then execute it. Fast and quiet. Remember, he's dead. At this point, O5-1 spoke. Okay. When will Dan know that we already know that he orchestrated a containment breach? After his death. O5-1's grim voice rang out. End of 096 plot. Chapter 19. As O5-1's grim voice fell. The first video version of the contestant number 9096. It's all over. And the live broadcast room also broke out into an extremely enthusiastic barrage. Oh my god! This O5 council feels so cold. Yes, yes, the phrase remember, he's dead is so cold that it explodes. I see, this O5 council is supposed to be the high-ranking personnel of the Containment Foundation, right? You only paid attention to the O5 council, and you didn't even notice the containment object 096. Judging from the plot of the video, this thing's face seems to be very simple. Yes, 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 how do I feel, as if anyone sees 096's face and triggers some kind of violent reaction from it. Hiss. Is it really fake? Is it so scary? It seems to be only a few pixels on that photo, but it still arouses hostility. 096. This special meow is too perverted. I can also see that in this whole video, the face of 096 is coded, and then all kinds of information say that the guy's face can't be seen, and the photo doesn't seem to work, otherwise something will happen. Horse stepping, this Containment Foundation feels extremely ruthless, and their goal is to carry out their purpose, containment, and protection. I understand this plot. It was Dr. Dan and another doctor who deliberately created such a containment breach, right? Yes, in the end.